Hello and welcome to the Swine Disease Reporting System. This is the report number 36. My name is Edson Magalhães here at Iowa State University.
Hello, my name is Giovanni Treves. I'm here at Iowa State University.
Hello, Daniel Linhares here, also at Iowa State.
So today we're going to cover the report. We're going to cover the results from the month of January, the first month of 2021. And also in this edition, we're going to do a retrospective from what we learned and what were the highlights from the year of 2020. So starting on the first page, Giovanni, what were the highlights from the month of January related to PRRS?
Well, during January of 2021, there was a moderate decrease in PRRS virus detection when you compare with December, and this decrease was mostly contributed by a substantial reduction in detection in wing-to-mark category. At a regional level, the detection of PRRS virus was within the state-specific baseline forecasted expected detection for this time of the year. In the PRRS virus comments from our advisory board, there were several reports of clinical outbreaks in all age groups that was associated with PRRS virus belonging to the RFLP 144 strains or lineage 1C. And these outbreaks was particularly occurring in the Midwest region, most Minnesota and Iowa. The advisory group reminded us that cold weather and the environmental conditions may have favored the spread of this strain at a regional level. Additionally, limited herd immunity for these particular strains may have contributed to the magnitude of the outbreak in those affected herds.
Yeah, that's really interesting, Giovanni. Thanks for your thoughts on that. And also, if you guys want to have more details on this detection of the RFLP 144, Giovanni and other folks from the Minnesota, they are going to participate in a webinar on February 4th that is being organized by SHIC. So just go to the SHIC webpage and you guys are going to find the link. So in terms of retrospective from 2020, Daniel, what were the highlights from this year? What have we learned, and how have we been dealing with PRRS?
Well, a lot of great information, and specifically here for PRRS, I think it was important for us to continue to see that beyond the cyclic pattern, right? We know that it's cyclic. In other words, it goes up in fall, winter. It comes down in the spring and summer. But then beyond that, I think it was pretty evident the importance of when to finish age group in the ecology of maintaining PRRS virus dissemination in the industry, as the detection in when to finish, it's not only higher than that observed in the sow farms, but it also a lot of times precedes the detection. Spikes in detection in grow finish precedes spikes in detection in sow farms. So another highlighting the importance of when to finish ecology here on PRRS virus.
Mm-hmm. What else, Giovanni, in terms of PRRS detection?
Well, just a reminder that detection, it's very important to have the number of cases that they are tested for this agent, but we have incorporated an algorithm to monitor this detection over time, and we call that the cyclical regression model. And if you recall 2020, we saw an increased detection of PRRS virus occurring above the 99.5% confidence interval at the end of October and beginning of December. And that was mostly contributed by an increased detection coming from wing-to-market animals in the Midwest region. So after this time of detection, we run this information through the advisory council and with the feedbacks, and now we can at least see that some of this increased detection was related to this emerging of a new strain that is the RFLP 144 lineage 1C. And by the way, when we talk about PRRS virus strain, we saw during 2020 a switching between the most frequent detected RFLPs. Like the 144, the 252, 174 are the most frequent detected, but the 184 is the one that was leading the number of detections for 2020. And at the end of the year, we were able to incorporate all the RF5 sequence from the University of Minnesota Veterinary Diagnostic Laboratory in the project. So by now, we have more than 67,000 sequence in our database, and that goes back for the year of 2006. So we expect to develop more epidemiological tools with this sequence during 2021.
Yeah, great information, Giovanni. Thanks. So moving on to the next page, which is the enteric coronavirus PCR detection page, which covers the detection for TGE, porcine epidemic diarrhea, and Delta coronavirus. What were the highlights, Giovanni, for the month of January 2021?
Well, for January, we saw that PD has a similar to detection as December of 2020, and this is in the lower boundaries of the forecast expected detection for this time of the year. We saw one positive case for TGE, and this case was identified as being collected in the state of Minnesota. On the other side, for Delta coronavirus, we saw a moderate increase in detection, and this was mostly contributed by detection in adult sow farm age category. When we look at the regional level, the increased detection of Delta coronavirus was above state-specific baselines for Oklahoma and Kansas. And our advisory group pointed out that this increase in detection of Delta coronavirus is most likely to be related with the resource and regional connections that may be facilitating the age spread across farms. One additional reminder that we got from the advisory council is that Delta coronavirus is not clinical relevant as PD, so it is possible that Delta coronavirus has an increased infection with subclinical farms that are not tested across different regions for this agent.
Yeah, thanks for the information, Giovanni. So in terms of like a retrospective from the last year, if we look at PED, now we're going to see that since 2013, for this period, January, December, this year, the detections in the lowest rate since 2013. So it means that the industry is kind of making a progress. So if we have a few production systems that are tackling eradication problems, they are being successful. So this could be a good example. So what will be, Daniel, the highlights in terms of all what we learned during the last year?
I think that for those porcine enteric coronaviruses, in general terms, the detection rate for PED it has consistently been higher than that observed for Delta coronavirus, and of course the TGE among those three coronaviruses is the lowest in terms of positivity rate, right, Giovanni?
Yeah, that's correct. And one curiosity about TGE, we went for 157 days where we did test 40,000 submissions and 47,000 PCR was run for TGE with no positive results. And now in January we got a positive case for TGE, and that is an example of an agent that is a natural candidate for be eliminated from the U.S. swine herds. Additionally, PD is going for the lower levels of detection, historical from 2030. So this is maybe one potential candidate to be included in this list.
Yeah, good point.
So moving on to the next page, which is the page that covers PCR detection of mycoplasma. What are the highlights, Giovanni, for this month?
Well, as expected, the overall detection of Mycoplasma pneumoniae is following a forecasted model with decreased detection for this time of the year. And in January specifically was observed this moderate decrease in Mycoplasma pneumoniae detection.
Okay. Giovanni, Daniel, sorry. What have we learned with Mycoplasma during the last year? What are the key messages that you can tell us?
I think if we look back the reports as well as the comments from the advisory group, I think it's pretty obvious that the industry, the swine industry, is still learning how to survey or monitor mycoplasma, right, and how to acclimate gilts and manage mycoplasma infections under field conditions. So we saw a lot of diagnostics with those PCRs that were done. It's clear also that the mycoplasma season starts ahead of PRRS and PED. Right, it also follows a cyclic pattern, goes up and down every year, but it starts a bit before PRRS and PED.
Thank you. So moving on to the next page, which is the page that covers diagnostic code. Diagnostic code, basically, there are codes assigned by diagnostician to each case submitted to the VDL. So Giovanni has built models to aggregate that information specifically from the Iowa State University VDL. Giovanni, what were the highlights for this month's report?
During January, PRRS continues to lead the respiratory cases, followed by influenza, rotavirus, followed by E. coli leads the digestive diagnosis, and Streptococcus suis leads the neurological diagnosis. When we do monitor these agents that are diagnosed at the ASU VDL, we did not find any that was above the expected by the monitor models.
Daniel, in terms of big message that we learned with diagnostic code, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I really like this page because in this page, as Giovanni said, with those algorithms, right, it offers the opportunity to detect what's on the rise, right, for endemic, for emerging, for re-emerging diseases. We every month we pick up one-off kind of spike, right, and one example was the coccidiosis spike that was associated with change in availability of some treatments, right, and that spiked some great discussions by the industry. And but in general terms, we observe that PRRS continues to lead the respiratory page, right? Streptococcus suis the CNS, and the rotaviruses with E. coli the enteric ones, and that's considering the cases with some diagnosis. We always have those not specified, right, Giovanni?
Yeah, and that's a great point, Daniel. We have this not specified that comes month over month in this report. And the question that we receive most time, why are those not specified? Mm-hmm. And those not specified cases doesn't mean that an agent was not detected. What that means is that we are talking about disease diagnosis. And when the diagnostician did not have enough evidence, and that goes by the sample type, the case history, the testing, and microscopic lesion, the diagnostician assigned as not specified for that case. So you as a listener and a person who submits samples for the VDL can help the diagnostician to provide you better information back to you. And that goes to the point as do appropriate collection of the sample, choose the right animals, and submit the samples in a refrigerated or formal type. It depends of the testing that you are going to be done, and providing a good clinical history about these animals for diagnostics, so diagnosticians can have enough information to at least choose the right testing, or have enough information to connect the dots in this testing result with the clinical history and provide a good feedback for the VDL clients.
Good point.
Yeah, good point, Giovanni. So that was it in terms of the page that we have to cover. Now the additional highlights for the what we learned of 2020 with the SDRS report and what happened in the industry. Would like to pick your brain on that, Daniel, Giovanni, of what will be the general message that you can tell us. In my opinion, one message that I really like with this project is the surveillance or the capability or the preparedness capability that this project helps We are detecting, of course, PCR detection for these pathogens that we have mentioned. But if we look at, for example, if we could have this project back in 2013 and we were monitoring, for example, TGE, we would pick in that case, in that time, an increase in cases of testing for TGE, and they coming as negative. So this is one evidence that something's happening. People are testing more, but it's negative, so it might be another pathogen. So it helps. It's another tool that supports the whole industry in terms of preparedness for endemic or re-emerging or emerging pathogens. So starting with you, Daniel, what are your comments on that?
And that's all possible, I think, Edison, because the swine disease reporting system is a true teamwork, right? A lot of people and institutions collaborating here, so we're pretty happy with the collaborations we have ongoing here, the continuing support from Chicken and the continuing support from the VDLs, right? Iowa State, Minnesota, Kansas, and South Dakota, really sharing their numbers and opening their books, let's say, to help the industry understand disease and pathogen detection, right, and that dynamic over time, age groups, so on and so forth. And of course, always happy with the context provided by the advisory group, right? We put those reports together, identify some signals, identify some changes in patterns, and then what does it mean? That's why we have the advisory group, and they come every month and say, we think it's this, we think that's subclinical, or that's increasing testing, or that's guild acclimation, or no, we think it's something new, it's a new, we think it's a new strain, for example, PERS now talking about this re-emergence of 144, for example, right? And so really appreciate the input by the advisory group to give context to those numbers in those pages every month.
That's a great point, Daniel. You mentioned that this is a collaborative project, and that's true. We have a partnership with the industry, the VDLs, and this project has this network component about collecting the data from the VDLs, aggregating and sharing in an anonymized format, and we are able to monitor here the microepidemiological aspects of these agents and disease detection across over time, across different regions, across different age groups, specimens. And there is this additional educational component that we have been including in the SDRS. That is, if you go for the our webpage, you can find there the dashboards where you can visualize pathogen detection, agent detection, over time, over region, and play around with the data that is publicly available. And we do reserve the right to make it better over time. And if you look for 2021, we did improve the way to develop the report and sharing a standard format. We moved everything to R Markdown script, and for who is not familiar with that, is a standardized format to receive the data and compile the report at the end. And thinking into a better educational component for the U.S. swine industry, we moved it with the tremendous help of Edson to a video and audio report that we have been providing every month. And in 2020, we are creating this other component that is the bonus page of the report that is open. Everybody can share their research, their thoughts on that page. So if you have something to share, just contact us and we'll be glad to include that on the monthly reports.
Great. So data from multiple VDLs, a really good amount of data, participation of the advisory board, and we're putting that together. Giovanni, you have been doing that with perfection, and putting that together in the dashboards for visualization, providing the report. I think that's a good way to provide this whole amount of data that was there before, not being used, but now we are giving some good thoughts and at least not causation, but showing us the lead or some trends, important trends that they help us, the swine industry, to investigate and look at their development. So I think that's it for today. This was the report for the month of January, and I see you guys next month. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.